There's 4 reasons why you're leaving something to the last minute. Number 1 is rebellious. I remember as a young teenager, I would leave all my assignments to the last minute. It was a big, to the system, to my parents. So rebellion is number 1. Number 2 is procrastination. Just full on procrastinating, not even making a start, not even taking action until the very last 11th hour, last minute before I take action, or you take action. Number 3 is the fear of failure or the fear of success can also then cause the procrastination, but it's also another reason. And the last one is forgetful. I definitely know that I've left things to the last minute because it hasn't been in my train of thought, and I have been forgetful. The forgetful also ties in with having too much on your plate. A way to combat being forgetful is set an alarm. Literally, set an alarm so that you cannot forget. On your iPhone, there's a thing that you can set an alarm a week in advance and 2 days in advance, double set alarms. This is something that I have to do, and for business owners, for fathers, people that are have a lot going on, a lot on their plate, set an alarm allows, for me personally, I set an alarm and I set it and forget it, and I don't have to have it in my conscious awareness anymore. With this, and with every single one of these, there's going to be a through line for this too. If it is important enough to you, you will never forget it. If it is important enough to you, you'll never forget it. So, set alarms, reverse engineering, and so the rebellion. So, if you rebel and you leave things at the last minute, have a look at why are you rebelling? Who is that person that you're rebelling against? I know for me, I used to rebel against my parents, and I'd rebel against the system, the government system. And so when we come from this rebellious energy, this rebellious mindset, it's a you to everyone else. But what we're doing is that everyone else has our power because we're doing it for the sake of them. So if you catch yourself rebelling, claim back your power and take ownership and do it and change the mindset, change the way you talk to yourself that I get to do this for me. So there may be a job that you're in and you get tasks put upon you that you don't want to do, and you leave them to the last minute because you're rebelling. It's I don't want to fucking do it because I'm doing it for that person. But if you flip the script and then made it, hey, I get to do this for me, I'm sharpening my axe, I'm going to grow, this is going to give me experience, and use it as a stepping stone for the next job, then you have claimed the power and you get to do it for yourself, not the other person. The rebellious also has this, it's got a bit of an aggressive nature towards it. I remember when I first started dating Melinda and starting coming into when she was pregnant, I had this rebellious energy come up because my story is that my dad left when I was 7, so from the ages of 7 until my stepdad came in, I was the man in the house, and so I would help my mum do the ironing, the cooking, the cleaning, get my brothers and sisters up, so I'm the eldest of 5, get them ready for school, so I became a man very early. And so when Melinda would ask me to do things, that rebellious child in me would say, I'm not going to hang the washing out, I'm not going to do X, Y, and Z, because I saw it as a chore, because that rebellious child in me was getting triggered. And so I worked through that, and how I worked through that was I put a purple troll doll, a pink troll doll up, and that rebellious in this moment was towards my mum. I love you so much, Mumsy, and I'm not going to diminish that inner child and that inner boy, life. And so I used to put a pink troll doll up, and then when my queen would ask me to do something that I was getting that rebellious energy for, rather than doing it energy towards her, I would say it then towards this troll doll. So I actually brought humor into the situation, the scenario, and so I have a conversation with my mum in a very humorous way, and honor that rebellious young boy that was in me that didn't want to do that at such a young age. And so I was able to be with that emotion as a man, and then the rebellious side didn't come into my family unit. And it would stop me from leaving things to the last minute. So the forgetful, set alarms. The rebellious, procrastination. The way to solve procrastination is action. I'll give you an example yesterday. So I went to our property, and we're in a rental right now, so we're about to demolish a house and rebuild, and so I just went to clean up the yard. And there was the weeding to do, I had to mow the lawns, I had to do all of this stuff, and I started procrastinating. I was walking around the property for like 10 minutes not fucking doing anything. And so I used an example I give all of my clients is like, okay, cool. Just create a checklist. What do I need to do? And knock out the hardest one first, the one that I don't want to do. And so it was the weeding. I didn't want to do the weeding. That was the one I was avoiding. And so I put the mowing as the last thing I did, because I love mowing, and like, men, you know, mowing and getting those straight lines is like on point. So that's how I set a plan and knocked out the first one. The thing is that with procrastination, you'll procrastinate around anything, but if it's important enough to you, you won't procrastinate. If it's important enough to you, you will not procrastinate. If you're hungry, you will eat. If your house is on fire, you will put water on it, or you're gonna ring the fire engine or the firefighters. If it's important enough to you, you will take action. And so, what is the thing that you're leaving to the last minute? What is the thing that you're procrastinating about? Is it important enough to you? Is it in alignment? So the last one is then the fear of either failing or the fear of success. So some people, they procrastinate, they don't want to do it, but the underlying issue is because they actually have a fear that if they do commit to that, they're gonna change who they are. Think about who are you going to become if you don't leave things to the last minute? Because that's the thing that you're avoiding. That's the fear. There's a fear there that you're avoiding that. Or so the fear of the failure or the fear of success. And so there's been times that I know for myself around consistency. I used to have a gambling problem. I used to have a really big gambling problem around the age of like 24 to 27. Spent hundreds of thousands of dollars gambling. And I had a fear of, as I started to grow as a businessman and become an entrepreneur, I had this really deep fear that I would lose it all because I used to have a gambling addiction. So I actually had a fear of my success, that the more that I grew, the more that my bank balance grew, I was actually scared of money, and that was the root cause of it. So I had to look into deeply, not just the fear of failure, but the fear of my success, and it was linked to gambling. And with that was like, if I gambled, I would lose my family, I'd lose my house, I'd lose my children. And so there was a lot of like this sabotaging behavior. So I would leave things to the last minute and not do them. I would not do what a successful business owner would do. I would not do what a successful entrepreneur would do because I had a fear of the success and that version of myself that I would become. So I looked back into the shadows of where it came, cleared all of that stuff out, and then became that successful businessman and entrepreneur. And that always has levels and layers to that. So they're the four, that's how to combat it. But then in a nutshell, putting it all together, you will never leave something to the last minute if it is important to you. Is there purpose to that? If you give something meaning, it gives you purpose. Stop leaving things last minute. They're the four reasons why. If there's any other reasons why you feel that you're leaving that to the last minute, it'll always tie back to because it's not, you don't make it important enough to you, or you're not giving it meaning to you. You can flip the script and give anything any type of meaning that you want. You can do it for yourself rather than do it for somebody else. When you do it for anyone else, it's always going to be a hollow victory. It's going to be the bottomless pit, because if they react or respond in any way that you don't deem fit or what you desire, you're going to have suffering. If you do it for yourself and your growth, you have yourself to hold yourself accountable. You have yourself to hold your happiness, and it's like that's where we want to be playing. That inner game, doing it for ourselves, not the external environment. Align with the vision, align with your values, and get to work. Yeah. Peace.